Great. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We got some feedback that on our last customer event that you wanted to see a bit more of a deep dive on Agentless and discovery features. So I hope you will enjoy our presentation today. We're going to be looking at the Agentless technology, when you're going to want to use it, and how to actually use it. So please go ahead and ask your questions as we're going through this. We will get to them at the end of this event. We also have a fellow customer of yours on the call with us. So if you'd like to ask him some questions, you are more than welcome to as well. And just to reiterate, yes, this is being recorded and it will be made available at the end of this event to everybody who attended. So let me give a proper introduction to everybody I have on the call with me. I have Ken Galvin. He is the K1000 Product Manager for the Agentless and Agentless technology. We also have Ron Colson, if you don't already know him. He's one of our senior technical trainers here at CASE. And a fellow customer of yours is Lee Frith. He's a K1000 customer on version 6.0, so he'll be able to tell you exactly what he's liking about 6.0 and everything that he's been able to experience with the new build. And we have quite a few people on the call with us in the background helping to answer questions. I also have Dean Wade. He's the overall K1000 product manager, and a couple of other CASE folks on the call. So you've got a full team here with you. For today's agenda, we're going to take a quick look at what's new in 6.0. I'm going to give you a highlight and overview of the other features available. Then I'll pass it on to Ken, who's going to walk you through exactly each of our new discovery feature functions, when you use them, and then how to use them with your K1000. After that, we're going to pass it on over to Ron, who will talk to you about getting ready for an upgrade, what to do, best practices, as well as some training resources that you will find valuable. And then we'll get into the Q&A. Again, before we get started, I'm just going to do a quick little update on some of the other products within the K1000 and within the ESM portfolio that complement your K1000. If you haven't already heard, we have the K2000 version 3.6. We have enhanced it with multiple features that are going to be actually really great. If you are in the middle of your Windows migration, this tool couldn't help you out any more than what we've done with it. We've got multicasting, and we have a brand new task engine. The task engine has been absolutely phenomenal with our install-based customer. If you are interested in hearing more about that, please reach out to your CASE sales rep, and we will get you guys hooked up on looking at what's going on with K2. Further, if you are in primary Windows environment and you're looking at maybe offloading some of the scripting that you're doing with your K1000 or looking at getting much more granular control, we do offer the Desktop Authority Management Suite. They've got a great kind of play together. You're going to get user-based management at a very granular and file level, and you're going to get your machine management and configuration management with your K1000. So they work hand in hand, very intuitive as well. So again, if you're looking at trying to better refine the management of your environment, I'd suggest that you take a look at the Desktop Authority Management Suite. And finally, we have the Dell Enterprise Mobility Management. Since you guys are already K1000 users, you should know that the K1000 sits as the foundation for the Dell Enterprise Mobility Management Suite. This really helps you secure not just your corporate issue devices, but all of your BYOX devices, whether those are laptops or tablets or phones. So if you as an organization are struggling and trying to figure out how to expand your K1 into managing all of those user-owned devices, fear not, the K1000 is now your platform for it, and we have some additional modules. We have a lot of K1 customers that are transitioning onto this. If you are interested, again, reach out to your CASE sales rep. So what's new in 6.0? We've come up with a number of enhancements. We have some security enhancements now with our Agentless technology and our new kind of discovery options. You're going to be able to get an accurate view of everything that's connected to your network. So as the Internet of Things actually begins to take hold within your organizations, and it is here if you don't think it is already, your printers that are connected to your network and your smartphones and your projectors. That is the first iteration of the Internet of Things, and it's just going to get more complex. We do have the security enhancements in the Agentless that will allow you to do a full inventory of every device that is connected to your network. So you're already going to be able to scale with the influx of these new network-connected devices with K1. In addition, we have made enhancements to our IT and software asset management feature functions within the case appliance. We are now offering versionless and expanded OS support due to our agentless technology, as well as automated blacklisting and for your software asset management. So major enhancements there. In terms of ease of use, if you haven't already seen it, K1000 6.0 has gotten a facelift. It is beautiful, but don't get blinded by the beauty of the new UI. There are some actual great feature functions that are behind it that we're going to show you today. In addition, we have also announced K1 Go, the second iteration. If you do not have that, it is the mobile app of K1000. There is an IT administrator interface as well as an end user interface to that now. And then we have our new deployment and solution options. Again, the K1000 is now the baseline for the enterprise mobility management solution. So if you're looking at scaling your K1000 out to manage BYOX devices, you have now got that pretty much in your organization already. You just need to add in a few modules. And then we are moving to 3 different types of deployment options. We are having physical, virtual, and as a service with K1000. So if you're looking to offset and move from a CapEx to OpEx, we've got that now available for you. K1000 Go 2.0, again, we are enhancing some of the feature functions there. We've got the user interface for non-administrators. You can go ahead and have them download it. It is forward and backward compatible with 5.5 and 6.0, so you're all set there. Again, we've got our new deployment options. So we have our physical, our virtual, and now as a service, and feature function parity across all 3. And then, of course, our new improved look and feel, but again, don't get blinded by the new beauty of K1 6.0. We've got a lot of great feature enhancements that go along with it, so we encourage you to try those out. With that, let me pass this on to Lee Frith for just a second. Lee Frith is a customer of ours. He is a system administrator. He uses the K1000, and he works at Southeast Alabama Medical Center. The K1000 does a great job for him, and he's been on 6.0, so I'll let him tell you a little bit about his 6.0 experience.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Lisa. My name is Lee Frith. I work at Southeast Alabama Medical Center here in Dothan, Alabama, and I have had the pleasure of being on version 6 for a few weeks now, and I'm very pleased. As Lisa knows, I'm sort of afraid of change. My whole company's gotten used to 5.5, and you sort of get used to the same thing. And I heard about 6, I saw 6, and I said, whoa, that looks different. I don't like it. But once I tried it, we're so used to it now, we couldn't go back. The interface is very improved, which was needed, and it's easy to get around. Everything's been grouped up, and to me, it actually steers faster than before. I have an older K1000 server, and this upgrade, seemed to make the performance even better than before. So I'm glad to see that streamlined process work so well. One of the things that I've noticed an improvement on is what we use K1000 for mostly at this company is scripting, deployment of software, inventory, and that is where it shines, in my opinion. For example, before you could use inventory, I was always asked by a director, hey, how many PCs do we have that had the software installed? And doing an advanced search, it worked, but it was sort of cumbersome. Now with the new GUI, it's just so straightforward. They made like quick ways to get around the web page. So I can do advanced searches, I can do smart labels quickly. Also, the 6.0 actually incorporates the ability to have more than just a few lines to search for. You can do groups. You can search by this and that, and you can add more and more and more, versus 5.5 below had like a 4 or 5 line limitation. So that's very, very good. Like I said before, with scripting, with inventory, these fields have a search option before you to like click and drop down. Now you can actually type in the box and type in the first letter of what you're looking for. For example, if you're looking for a software title or an OS architecture, you can type in, AR, and it jumps right to it. And that just saves time on getting around the web page and getting the job done and moving on. Excuse me. When it comes to stability of the upgrade, it worked right away. About a 30-minute process. I was nervous. Will it work? Will it come back up? Will it turn on? It was seamless. It was streamlined. It was very straightforward. Boss came up, and I started looking at, hey, this is perfect, and we got to work right away. Nothing broke. Nothing didn't work. All our scripts remained working. It did not require any new agents to be pushed out. We did that when we chose to do agent upgrades when we wanted to. So everything was a very seamless upgrade, and I'm very pleased. I think all my technicians who use it every day, using it right now as we speak, are very pleased with how easy it is to get around. Not that before was bad, but it's just so much simpler and up-to-date and modernized. So we're very pleased with that. And that's where I'll pass it back to Lisa.
Great, thank you, Lee. If you guys have any questions about Lee's experience with upgrading, please go ahead and answer. Go ahead and write those in the Q&A section, and we will make sure to have Lee answer those for you. He's been on K1 6.0 for, like you said, quite a while. Actually, he was part of our RC process, and so he has a great experience with the build. With that, let me turn this on over to Ken Galvin, because I'm sure you want to get down and dirty in seeing Agentless in the actual product. So, Ken, let's get you started.
Thank you, Lisa. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Ken Galvin, and I'm the product manager for K1000 Agentless supported product features. And today I'm going to focus our presentation on the new Agentless enhancements in discovery and inventory that our customers are enjoying in your new K1000 version 6.0 release. I made a point to fold in answers to frequently asked questions that we've gathered since the release. So chances are we'll answer any questions you have, but if not, just use the Q&A, and this crack team we have on here with us will help you. I'll jump right into a demo again in a second, but I want to take a minute to cover one of the most frequently asked questions, why and when to use Agentless. So if you review the Agentless advantages, there's no deployment of an agent necessary, and engineers and admins were reluctant to put agents on their boxes, because of potential conflicts, security policies, and other reasons. Also with Agentless, we use standard commands to extract the data from the box. So for example, a df command is used to get disk information. So those commands never change. So Agentless can support down-level versions that are not supported by agents, and also when new operating system versions come out, they all just work with little to no dev effort, and there are no agents to update. And finally, there's no way to even put an agent on lots of devices like network devices, printers, and so on and so forth. And K1000 doesn't have agents for Unix and for some popular Linux distributions. So version 6.0 increased the Linux inventory support to include CentOS, Debian, Fedora, and Oracle Enterprise Linux. And we also have Agentless for Red Hat, SUSE, and Ubuntu, in addition to the existing agents. So again, if you can't put an agent on a server, now you can, and you're good to go for inventory. So good time to address a more specific frequently asked question, when to use an agent versus Agentless for Red Hat, SUSE, and Ubuntu, since you can use either for them now. Well, Agentless inventory is at parity with agent inventory, but Agentless does not support software distribution, patching, software metering. So think of Agentless as just supporting inventory only, but it will give you the same inventory data and create an asset, do labels and reporting, and work with service desk, and so on. So I hope that kind of clears that up for you. Note that 6.0 also adds Unix support. AIX, FreeBSD, HPOX, and Solaris can now be inventoried. And round out the conversation on operating systems with yet another frequently asked question, what about agentless inventory for Windows boxes? Well, that's planned for our next release at the beginning of next year. And 6.0 also adds, basic agentless inventory for devices on which agents can't be installed, so printers, routers, switches. In 6.0, the non-OS devices will provide basic inventory, so name, IP address, MAC address, and uptime. I'll show you later also how for Dell, this is for any kind of device, any SNMP enabled device, but for Dell devices in particular, we'll also grab the service tag, and if it's available, and we'll feed it into the existing automated warranty information functionality that came out in 5.5, so pretty cool. Bottom line, you can inventory a whole lot more now. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we discover and inventory some operating systems and devices in kind of a small lab environment. We've increased speed and flexibility with the new discovery functionality we added to what we've used to in the past called scanning.
Ken, I'm just going to interrupt you for just a second. Would you mind speaking up a touch louder? I'm getting a few questions about the volume on your phone.
Absolutely. I apologize. I guess the sound check didn't work as well as I hoped. I'll speak very loudly.
That sounds better. Thank you.
Let's see how we discover and inventory for some operating systems and devices in a small lab environment. We're going to first go to this screen called Discovered Schedules. Here's where you can choose the scanning method or combination of methods you want to use to create a specific scan that best suits a particular need. So you then save these discovery scans and use them immediately in the future. I've already created a few, so we'll take a look at each type here. You'll notice that, I'll give you a second to take a quick look here. We're going to actually go through each one of these one at a time. I'm going to kind of, I've already created a few, so let's take a look at each one at a time. You notice that DNS is available on every one of these different schedules screens, and I'm going to skip very quickly through ping and socket as they were available in the past. But you can scan for specific ports, say for security vulnerability or just to see if ports are open for listening and so on. Taking a look then, you'll notice also that at the bottom of any discovery option screen, there's an email notification option and the actual scheduling options. And that'll be this persistent and the same through any kind of screen you go through when you're doing discovery. So here's an example of creating a discovery using Active Directory. The IP address of is what you use. The IP address of the actual AD server is what you input here. Unlike other discovery options where you input the IP address or the IP address range you want to scan, you'll actually put the AD address in here. And you'll need user privileges for the AD server, so like an admin account. You'll also notice the search context field is there to put the LDAP settings in to enable search for the entire domain or a subdomain and down to the OU level and so on and so forth. So let's look at the authenticated discovery is where you go to create SSH or Telnet and SNMP discoveries. Again, you see here we actually put in an IP address range. The SSH Telnet is what we'll go over first. Obviously Telnet will put the credentials out in the clear, so we'll concentrate on SSH. But so real quick, just a kind of the digression here. Back to how Agentless works. So an Agentless connection is made similar to if you did yourself, if you're going to remote in. So all of this is like a human synthetic transaction. The K1 connects, and if it successfully authenticates, it's going to pass commands asking for the information, and we'll post in discovery and await a response with the payload. The same basic thing happens when it does inventory. Connects, authenticates, commands, gives it the commands, responses, waits for the responses, and hands the data over to be placed in the database. So typically you'll use SSH service account for your servers, for example, and this method is highly accurate. Also, this is a good frequently asked question here. Since you're planning to inventory these boxes after you discover them, putting in the credentials here save you some steps later on. When you decide that, yes, after I discover them, I do definitely want to go ahead and provision them for agentless inventory, putting them in will save you a step later on. So again, putting your SSH service account credentials for your servers in during discovery lets you skip a step later. And that was a big question we ran into on our last call, so hope that helps. When we're talking about SNMP, you'll notice here that this one just happens to be for one little Cisco router. You're starting to see more flexibility in the protocols we can use for discovery here, but here's where we start talking about speed too. SNMP will be a big option for printers, network devices, power storage, you name it. If it's SNMP enabled, you can discover it. So you put in the IP address or the IP address range that you want to scan, and you'll notice the checkbox at the top that says SNMP full walk, it's actually unchecked by default. Because doing a full SNMP walk, which can take, say, up to 15 minutes per device, just for the purpose of discovering a node only, it's wasteful of both time and K1 processing resources. So instead, we do a bulk get, a SNMP get that will be done on common public OIDs in a fraction of the time to go from minutes to seconds. You can still do the full SNMP walk if you want to see a bulk listing of all your OIDs in your hardware inventory, and we'll see inventory for a full walk versus a quick run in a couple of minutes. And you can see the fields were provided last year to accommodate SNMP version 3. Also new in 6.0, Nmap. If you don't have credentials, Nmap is a great tool to use. So it's great for a fast what and where scan for your computers and devices. Just put in either a single IP address or an address range, and you can check the operating system detection box, and Nmap does a pretty good job of fingerprinting, and identifying it. One exception is like for Linux, for Red Hat, for example, that will show up as Red Hat, but for some Linux flavors, particularly some of the more obscure ones, Nmap may just return the word Linux. So that's a good example where if you need to get really nitty-gritty, you want to use SSH with the service account to get the precise data. Nmap is also good for like Mac, bring your own device environments. Again, the strength here is that no credentials are required, and it's great for what and where scans. Note that since, with an Nmap discovery scan, you don't put in credentials to connect to the devices. Should you choose to inventory them later, you'll need to add the credentials at that time, or you'll get an error from the K1 saying, hey, I can't authenticate to this box. So I'm kind of beating that one, dead horse on that one. This custom option, this is where you can combine different protocols into one scan. So you can use several at once. So an exception is when combining different protocols for scans, you can't combine Active Directory with others. So you can combine SSH to find operating systems for which you have service accounts, and Nmap for, say, the BYOD laptops for which you don't, and then schedule that. The point on this slide is that you can create scans using just one method, or you can mix and combine different methods to best meet your needs, and then run, save, or schedule all of them. You can run the scans, and then actually watch you just select the ones that you want to run, and you actually just scan them and watch the progress until it becomes 100% complete. And it's kind of cool. You'll see the optional. Here's an optional notification via email. Another thing to point out in the discovery results page is what these new icons mean. So this is a good time to take a look at that. You'll see the same icons used throughout all the screens now. Agentless with a red line through it. You notice the dots on the bottom indicate that it's agent. So a red line means it's not connected in agent, and if it doesn't have a red line through it, it means that it is connected. So now's a good time to address a big frequently asked question. Am I charged anything for discovery? No, you don't use any licensing at all for discovery. So let's talk about licensing. Here's how licensing works. If you choose to agentlessly inventory an operating system, a computer or a server, you'll use 1 unit of licensing, just the same as you would if you provisioned an agent. So agent or agentlessly, for an operating system like Linux, Mac, Unix, that will consume 1 node of your licensing. If you choose basic agentless inventory for a device, SNMP-enabled non-operating system device, we're talking printers, routers, switch, power supply, storage. In version 6.0, no charge. It does not hit your licensing count. And as always, devices that are manually added to the inventory, meaning you key in all the information and you update all the information, no automatic scheduled inventory, as always, no charge. So you can use that for other things, like chairs or desks, for example. So summing licensing up: discovery, no charge; manual inventoried, no charge; SNMP basic inventory in version 6.0, no charge; agentless inventory for Mac, Linux, Unix, same charge to your licensing count as with an agent. Agent, same as always, and of course with the agent, in addition to inventory, you get software distribution, patching, software metering, everything you're already used to. Okay, so I hope that answers a lot of questions. We had a lot of questions on that during our last webinar. So now we're back to the discovery results again. And from here, on this page, we actually have now run several different discoveries, and they populated the information in the discovery results. You notice that from here we can do our labels, we can do exports and reports as normal, or and this is really kind of cool and new. We can also decide whether we want to add any of these to the list of devices that we want to deploy an agent to. Like these Windows boxes are selected here, and then we can pre-populate them in the provisioning detail screen. You can see they're in the little box there. So that'll save you some steps and maybe some typing errors. And we thought that was a nice addition to this particular version. Now we actually talk about agentless inventory provisioning. We've discovered everything. Now let's go ahead and do some inventory provisioning agentlessly. So what we'll do here is we'll pick the CentOS box with no icon, denoting that it is discovered but not provisioned. So that's it's discovered but not provisioned, and we choose to provision it automatically. You notice to your right, all the way, well, second column from the last, that this was discovered with SSH or Telnet, but in this case SSH, which means you already supply the credentials that it'll need to get in the box and pass inventory commands and so on and so forth. And that's important because we're going to do this automatically. So you actually just click the Agentless Automatic, and what will happen is this red line on the new icon that just appeared will stay there until inventory is completed. And then you can click through directly from there to look at the details for that device, or you can use the navigation on the left to go to the devices screen and then click on the details if you want. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone and show you how to avoid a common error, and also, while doing so, learn about manually configuring agentless provisioning. So this is not manual provisioning. This is agentlessly provisioning, but we're going to actually show you some of the manual configuration that you can do. You notice that I'm picking a device here. In this particular case, there we go. In this case, we're going to pick a device that was discovered using Nmap, which means I've never put in any credentials. So it's going to bark at me and tell me to go back and put the credentials in so that it can do its inventory thing. In the interest of time, I'm not going to fill in this manual configuration page, but I just want to show it to you so you can see. You would actually go to the manual page here, and you would fill in the information. I think you get the drill here on that. So this is where you would go. This is also where you go if you just wanted to do an agentless manual provisioning from scratch, which would probably not be the most fast way to do things. Okay? So agentless inventory. Now that we've discovered devices and provisioned them for agentless provisioning, let's take a look at the actual inventory. So here's the fun part. You can either click through from the discovery results or go through the devices screen to actually click through and actually, drill down into the individual inventory information. You'll notice that it says that this is an agentless machine type up here. And then you'll see the same information that you'd see if this was an agent-managed device. So, for example, if you compare agentless to agent-based inventory for Red Hat box, you'd get the same information. So when you actually want to drill down to more information, and you can see the force inventory box up there as well if you want to do it, and if you haven't scheduled it or you need to force an inventory in between schedules. But for example, you just click on the accordion views to see specifically what you want. And in this particular case, we're looking at the hardware for SNMP device inventory. I picked this Dell printer specifically to show you how it automatically grabbed the service tag information. Okay. And sorry, I got ahead of myself here. There it is. I'm sorry. There's actually it looks like there's a slide missing, but you can actually see the it automatically grabbed the service tag and worked with the automatic Dell warranty information warranty feature. So that's a bonus for thank you for buying Dell. Here's your network interfaces and so on and so forth. Okay, great. So the last thing I want to show you is an example of what you see when you choose to do a full SNMP walk inventory. You open the SNMP drop-down box, and I think we actually have already been there. And it lists all the OIDs and the VARBINDs, the values associated with each OID, each object, one by one, and it's going to list all of them. It's not a beautifully elegant way of doing it, but it has all the information if you need to find out. We planned in the next release, early next year, to give you the option to also pick specific SNMP objects that you want to add to inventory, in addition to the ones that are there now, and the K1 will go and get them for you agentlessly. It'll literally perform an SNMP get. So that's pretty much it for the demonstration here. I just wanted to oh, here it is. I'm sorry, I mixed up these slides. This is Snoopy. This is an example of these slides got mixed up. This is where you actually do see the warranty information for this printer. So finally, summing up, Agentless extends inventory to operating systems and devices on which you cannot or may not want to put an agent. It gives you more options, more flexibility, gives you increased speed for discovery, and whether gathered with an agent or agentlessly, the data all goes into the K1000 the same way and in the same places. So that means in the same inventory, tagging, reporting, service desk, all under a single pane of glass. And that means less time learning and using several disparate tools and more time getting the work done. So thank you for your kind attention today. I hope this helps you better understand all the cool stuff we've added in 6.0. There's so much more, actually, but I'm the agentless guy, so I focused exclusively on that. Please use the user voice. You'll see a link to it at the end of the presentation today. There's an agentless section now to give me any advice on what you'd like us to build for you. And thanks again for your time. I'm going to hand the ball over to Ron Colson now, who will be covering 6.0 upgrades. Thank you again, and take it away, Ron.
Thanks for that, Ken. Howdy and welcome, folks. So I'm going to be talking about, for starters here, the actual upgrade process, upgrading your K1 to 6.0. I want to make sure you understand some of the keys to a successful upgrade. So let's begin with that. So the first thing you've got to do, of course, is download the update from our download site, case.com/support. You can hover over the top menu and click on download. You'll need to log in to our download site. All of our active customers can do that. And you can download the update, the 6.0 update, both the server piece and the agent piece. As we mentioned in the outset, we want to make sure that we get both of them upgraded. So we want to do that first. Now, you may find out that you go into your K1000 if you're at 5.5, and it may say that there's already an update available. You can click on the upgrade button. It's already pre-downloaded it and staged it on your K1000, and it's ready to go. Okay, but if you don't see that, you can always go download it and perform what we call a manual update. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we've prepared our K1000. Okay, the single best thing we can do is make sure we take a backup. Anytime we upgrade an appliance especially, but any of our back-end server type devices, we want to make sure that we have a good backup in place. And as you're probably aware, the K1000 generates its own backup files each and every night and stores them on available disk space on the K1000 itself. Okay, so what we'd like to do is go grab a copy of those and store them somewhere else inside of our network, and we can easily do that through the K1000 web UI. So that's the first step. Make sure we've got good backups stored somewhere else so that we have a sort of a disaster recovery mode should the worst happen. And we want to make sure, next steps, right, that we check all the prereqs. What are some of the things that cases already identified that we want to make sure that we've done? For instance, if we're going to upgrade to a newer version, we've got to make sure that we have enough disk space available on the K1000 to hold that new update and any additional items that it might add to the underlying operating system and running pieces and so forth and so on. So we want to make sure that we've got enough disk space. That's just an example. There are a few other prerequisites that we might want to make sure we have in place. All of this is covered in the release notes. So the general best practice that everybody in the world recommends before you upgrade anything, always read the release notes. Okay? All of this stuff is in there. The disk space requirements and taking a backup and how to take a backup and what to do on your agents and any other settings you might want to check, for instance, enabling SSH. In the next section down you can see here, enabling SSH in your K1000 is a good thing to do just as a general best practice. Functions like a backdoor. Something goes wrong, can't get in the web UI, but you know that the appliance is turned on. Case support can help you get in through that back door, but if SSH isn't enabled, there ain't no back door to get into. So you want to make sure you've got things like that done, okay? Make sure that you're not upgrading at a time where it's very sensitive. You need to get it back up and running. Something's come up. You need to get in there and do some ticket work, or you need to be able to deploy an application or something. You want to make sure you're doing it off hours, and off hours for you at a time when you're going to have enough of a window to get the upgrade done. Depending on how many agents you have deployed and checking into the K1, it can take a little bit longer to actually perform the upgrade. So we want to make sure that we've got enough time. And again, I mentioned it once already, I'm going to mention it again, read the release notes. All of the fixes that are included in the update, the new features that are in the new update, like the Agentless that Ken has told us about today, any known issues, any things that we've already discovered through our release candidate program and our beta programs and so on that we haven't yet gotten resolved or gotten a fix for or whatever, that's all going to be in the release notes. Okay? You don't want to be blindsided by a particular feature that might greatly affect you that maybe isn't that big a deal to a lot of other customers. You want to make sure you read those release notes, note any of the issues that might be a deal breaker for you, and make sure that you've got a workaround or a solution in place before you upgrade. Okay, so a lot of these different recommendations, and every one of them is going to be in the release notes. In addition to those, also though, if you go to the home summary page on your pre-6.0 K1000, your 5.5 to 5.4, you're going to note that at the top of the page in our latest news articles and our top troubleshooting articles, top knowledge base articles, you're going to see that we've already provided 3 or 4 different links to KB articles we've written about 6.0, the upgrade process, the new features, and so on. I encourage you to read through all of those as well. Just going to be arming you with that much more information, that much prepare you that much better for actually going through the upgrade. And then, of course, we're ready to actually apply. We've got the upgrade. We've turned on SSH. We've taken a backup. We've done all our prereqs. We've done all our homework. We've made sure that there aren't any known issues that are going to be particularly problematic for us. And we're ready to actually perform the upgrade. Again, we want to make sure we have enough time. We want to make sure that we have all the pieces that we need. For instance, depending on how far behind you are, you may need to upgrade to an interim version and then upgrade to 6.0. That's something to keep in mind there. Okay, and at the end of my slides here, I'm going to show you a reference, give you a video link that's going to go through all of this stuff in detail. We spent an entire hour teaching customers exactly how to perform all of these prereqs and how to actually perform the upgrade and so on. So I want to make sure that we've done all the things that are pretty standard when upgrading any of these kinds of things. So in order to get this accomplished, we've got a lot of resources for you, as I mentioned. I want to make sure you understand how to contact case support and what the self-help resources are for you, the things that you can be doing on your own, completely outside of our support arrangements. You can help yourself, and you can also get help from your fellow customers. So, of course, support.case.com is where you can go to log in, submit tickets when you need help from case support, and you can review any of the tickets you've already opened. You can access our support knowledge base and all of our resources from case.com/support. The user forums, this is what I mean when I say help yourselves or have other customers help you. IT Ninja is one of the best sites on the internet. It started as appdeploy.com, of course, right? How do I deploy all the various applications that I need to be able to deploy across the network and silently with the license code, remove previous versions, all that kind of stuff, and everything, all of that is still there. But it's so much more than that, okay? Just about anything you might need to do in your daily IT jobs, that's the kind of stuff that gets discussed and resolved at IT Ninja. And whether it's specifically about case or not, that's the place to go to collaborate with everybody else that does the same job you're doing. Okay? And feature requests, it's already been called out a couple of times today in this session. Case.uservoice.com, that's your way to let engineering know, to let product managers know what features you want improved in certain ways, what features you want added to the appliances, to any of the case products, as a matter of fact. Okay? Case.uservoice.com. Let your voice be heard. And then what's near and dear to my heart, and what any of you who know me, this is probably how you know me, the KKE program, Case Continuing Education. Free weekly training sessions. Free. Did I mention they're free? Weekly training sessions. They're free. Okay? You can come attend them live. And then we have a whole host of recordings of the previous sessions, hundreds of hours, that you can go watch anytime on demand. Did I mention it's free? Weekly training sessions. Don't cost anything but a little bit of time. Okay? IT Ninja, I mentioned this already. I forgot I had this slide in here. Forgive me for that. But it really is the place to talk to about any sort of IT administration function. Anything you're doing, whether it's deploying your machines with a K2 or some other product, whether it's deploying software, whether it's patching your machines, anything that you do on a regular basis has to do with your IT administrative function. That's the kind of stuff that we talk about. That's the kind of stuff that gets blogged about at IT Ninja. It's the kind of questions that get answered at IT Ninja. It's the kind of resources that get shared there. All kinds of stuff. It's an absolute treasure trove of information. I cannot stress this enough. If you don't have an account at IT Ninja and you're not using this as your go-to resource, you're really missing out. Okay? Not to mention, of course, you can earn points and win free stuff. And who in IT doesn't love free stuff? Okay, so when it comes to training proper, the Jumpstart program, that's what I do on a regular basis. That's my day job. Okay, is I train new customers or old customers that just want to get a refresher. So we've got training that you can purchase, comes in 2-hour blocks, covers all kinds of different subjects on the case appliances themselves and how they integrate into your network. Right? So as you can see here, in addition to our core topics, we've also got a whole slew of additional topics that can be purchased in whatever blocks you want. You can see we've got both basic and advanced training on a lot of this stuff. Okay? And we can really get you started using these appliances. So whether you're a brand new customer, just got your K-Box yesterday, right, haven't even taken out of a box, you've got some training coming. Or maybe you got a case appliance dumped in your lap when you hired on with this new job, or somebody quit and now all of a sudden you got to do that and your regular job. Whatever the case might be, we've got you covered. We've got training. And the really cool thing is, especially if you're an existing customer that got it dumped in your lap, chances are we already have training recordings from previous sessions for your company. You reach out to us, you let us know, and we'll give you those. They're free. They're yours. You can watch them anytime you want to over and over again. But if you need to purchase additional training, we got you covered there too. As I say, 2-hour blocks covering all kinds of topics. Whatever you want to cover, we can do. Okay? So keep that in mind. We got the core topics and all these excellent facts. Now, in addition to Jumpstart, we've got some other really cool things. Backyard Boot Camp is consistently one of the highest rated things that we do. People rave about this. This is just the traveling jumpstart, essentially. We go around to different parts of the country, really different parts of the world. We're in Europe and beyond nowadays as well. And we bring a trainer or two, and we sit around their boardroom style. Everybody gets a lab. They get their own laptop that we issue for the purposes of the class, and it's got a lab in front of it. It's got your own K1, your own K2, and got some test machines, and we actually walk you through a whole bunch of exercises doing all the cool stuff that you can do with our appliances. The great thing is you can't mess anything up. You can't mess anything up because it's not your box. You get to play, you get to learn, you get to do hands-on, and you get to network. You get to connect with the other customers that are there present, and that's at least equally as beneficial as whatever we might be training you on that week during those 3 days. Okay? It's both K1 and K2, basic, intermediate, advanced topics. Backyard Boot Camp is a lot of fun. The monthly newsletter, if you're not familiar with InkPad, this is free information you're not getting. Us trainers and support techs and all us guys here and gals here at CASE, we write articles every single month. Okay, all kinds of neat little tips and tricks. Wrote one a while back about how to send, how to have your CASE appliance send text messages instead of emails. If you're like me, email's kind of old, passe, out of date, not really as useful, but a text message, give me just a little bit of information, that's really cool. Then I know I need to go look it up and deal with it. And that's the kind of awesome little helpful tips and tricks, pro tips that we share in that monthly newsletter. Again, free. And then the KKE program. case.com/KKE. You can come attend the sessions live, free weekly training sessions. Okay, got them in English and French and Portuguese and German's coming soon. Or you can watch the recordings. You can do both. Come attend them live and then watch the recording once we post it. And then the biggie, Dell World User Forum. Many of you may know this as CASE Conference. Well, it's bigger, better, and badder than ever before. Okay, it's not just CASE anymore. We got the whole Dell software family that's involved in this now. And of course, it's part of the larger Dell World event itself. And this is where you get hands-on practical training on our products. Again, a lot like Backyard Boot Camp, but on a much grander scale, and a whole bunch more classes and topics and subjects. And we got them scheduled throughout the 3 days. You can, if you get your schedule right, you can probably attend every single class at least once. And we got basic, intermediate, we got advanced. It's tailored for from IT techs all the way up to CIOs. We've got all kinds of different topics. We got breakout sessions. We got hands-on. We're going to have Geek Bar. You can corner us during lunch and breakfast and ask anything you want. Right? It is quite simply the best user conference in IT, right? Because it's hands-on, practical training. And again, not to mention, really, in my opinion, probably the most useful aspect of it. As awesome as we are here at CASE, your fellow customers, they hold the secret to everything you're wanting to do because they've probably already done it. Right? That's the kind of info you can get at conference. Wow. Sorry. User forum. Old habits die hard, folks. Now, I mentioned before, a few minutes ago, being able to, having a video that covers the actual nuts and bolts of upgrading. We just did that this morning in KKE. If you missed it, that's the link right there. Okay? And so, Kirk, if you wouldn't mind taking that link from the top of the page there, Upgrade KKE Training, and dropping that into chat for everyone. Very much appreciate that. Okay? That's a whole hour on the upgrade process itself. And we cover everything. All of the pre-steps I mentioned, all the things you want to do, turning on SSH, taking a backup, all that sort of stuff, actual upgrade process itself, the automated upgrade, the manual upgrade, and any steps you might want to take afterward to verify everything's good. Okay? All of that's in that video. You want to register for the user forum, we got you there. You want to see what all of our Jumpstart training options are, that's the third link. Backyard Boot Camp, we got that. InkPad, KKE, and IT Ninja. All the links are here for you. Okay? This is a wealth of resources to get you everything you need to know. Okay? So, Lisa, with that, I'm done. It's your show again.
Great. Thank you so much, Ron. We'll kick it off with our first question here. Is continuing education, what's the cost for continuing education, and can you get a bulk discount? As you all heard, it is free. So I just want to kick that Q&A session off, which is a fun one there. We do have several questions, though. Lee, I'm going to kick off one of these questions for you since you are our customer. Another customer is asking about reporting. Do you use any reporting or custom reports, and do they still work properly in 6.0?
Yes, we do have several reports that we made in 5.5 and below. I was nervous, but upon upgrade completion, they all work. They still email, and they were all custom SQL created queries. And so, yes, to answer the question, yes, they do all work fine. No problems, not one.
Perfect. Thank you. Ken and Ron, this question's for one of you. For Agentless, is that SNMP V1, 2, and or 3?
1, 2, or 3. Most people are using 2, and more and more people are using 3, but you can use any version.
Okay, great. This is a question that does come up a lot. It's a pricing question on Agentless and discovery and how we're working that out. So Ken, would you please let everybody know how we're going to be doing licensing for devices with Agent or Agentless?
Okay, great. If it's an operating system, so you're talking Mac, Unix, Linux, they all will be, whether it's Agent or Agentlessly, they'll consume a one-node license. Of course, with the Agentless, you're just going to get inventory only. But either way, if you choose to go Agentless or Agent for an operating system, it'll consume one license. In version 6.0, if you do anything that's SNMP based, no charge. And more importantly, anything you discover, no charge. So all the discovery you do, go nuts and discover everything. You won't be charged. They'll not consume any license.
And what about all other types of devices, like printers and switches and routers, or anything else that's not a traditional computer or server?
In version 6.0, no charge.
Great. Thank you. We have another question here. Is the new version completely agentless, or is it optional?
It's optional. We're adding to the existing agent version that you've come to know and love, and we're adding agentless features to that. So you can use either or.
Great. What about the Dell integrations with Agentless? What information can be pulled?
You'll get all the normal information you get in terms of inventory, but in addition to it, for Dell products only, anything that has a Dell service tag, you'll also get the warranty information as well, because it pulls the service tag for any device that's out there. If it's a Dell device with a service tag, we'll know it, and then we'll actually automatically be able to use the already existing automated warranty information that you can grab.
Great. If you scan against AD and find additional Windows machines that should have the agent, can you seamlessly push the agent to those machines?
You would need to actually, create, just if you provision them as you normally would, probably using a label or something of that nature. I know the agent stuff for agentless stuff, but the agent I'm still learning, so I think that would be the right way to do it. If anyone else, Dean, maybe chime in, it'd be great.
The question was, Dean, if you find a device to your scan that needs an agent that hasn't yet had an agent put on it, what would be the best way to, can you easily do that?
Absolutely. From the discovery screen, you would highlight or select the one or more devices that you would like to deploy the agent to and use the Choose Action menu. In that menu, you're able to either create a recurring agentless inventory or pre-populate the advanced provisioning screen and go through that process to get the agentless.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
What would be the best option for devices like VoIP phones?
You would use SNMP, just as you would for any other SNMP enabled device. So the demonstration you saw earlier where we actually did an SNMP scan for discovery, and then for the actual provisioning, you do the exact same thing.
Great. This is another kind of open question. It's a little bit more about agents. If I have a group of computers that I need to send scripts to, can I import the list of computers, or do I still need to manually install each computer for the identified script configuration? And maybe, Ron, you could answer that one?
I'm sorry, Lisa, could you repeat that question? I didn't quite hear it.
Of course I can. If I have a group of computers that I need to send scripts to, can I import the list of computers, or do I still need to manually install each computer for the identified script configuration?
Not exactly sure what they're asking about, but if we want to be able to deploy anything like a script or manage installer patches or anything, as Ken mentioned, we're going to have, first of all, it be an agent-installed computer checking in and working with the K1000. And then we can deploy any sort of script through the scripting module to that machine that machine can support. So for Windows, we can just deploy all kinds of stuff natively, batch files and VBS files and that sort of thing, PowerShell and whatnot. With Macs, all kinds of shell scripts and stuff. So I hope that answers the question.
Okay. Let's see. How can you convert an agentless device to agent?
And I think we just talked about that, Lisa. So from the discovery page, you would select a device that you would like to have the agent installed and pre-populate the advanced provisioning form.
Great. We are past the hour here. I do realize we have several questions still kind of coming in. We will follow up with you guys on those. One last question here. Ken, does the agentless discover iOS, Android devices?
It will, if you use Nmap scan, it will attempt. It's oftentimes successful, but sometimes it's not. When it is successful for iOS and Android, they'll even give you the version number. So they'll give you the IP address and the version number and the name of the device. But there have been occasions with Nmap where it failed. So Nmap is always going to give you your best guess attempt. There are, I don't know all the situations that would actually cause it to not do it, but I've definitely seen it actually be successful, and I've seen it been unsuccessful on occasion as well.
Hey, Ken, I can verify in my own testing that I have gotten some of the droids to be recognized and some not as well.
Yes, and I've seen iOS as well, but there have been reports from some doing testing that one will just show up with just the IP address. So I don't know if that's because maybe some kind of networking issue or something with the actual phone or privacy settings or something. I really don't know.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, we are 5 minutes past the top of the hour, and I want to be mindful of everybody's time on the call. Thank you for joining us. This recording will be sent out, as well as the deck. If you missed any part of the conversation or you would like to revisit some aspects of the presentation that was shown, we also encourage you to send feedback in the WebEx feedback. If you'd like to see more of these or a deeper dive, or if there's any other feedback you'd like to provide our team, that would be great. And with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us.